Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. I was just thinking about something, and I thought this would be a really interesting topic for today.
Okay.
We hear this phrase all the time, the billionaire mindset.
Right.
And so I thought, let's do a deep dive into that, but not, I think sometimes people think of that as like,
Yeah.
Lamborghinis and private jets and stuff, but really what we're trying to get at is what are the habits? What are the philosophies that are really driving these folks who are making such a big dent in the universe?
Exactly. Yeah. We're not really looking at, their bank accounts as much as we are trying to get into their minds to understand, how they think, how they approach decisions, how they navigate the ups and downs, that come with any kind of big endeavor.
Yeah, for sure. And so the source material for this deep dive is a podcast episode called Mindset Mastery. And I think, ironically, this particular episode was on the billionaire mindset. So, I think a lot of people are probably thinking right now, well, do they just think differently?
Right. Is it just something you're born with, or can you cultivate it?
Yeah, and I think the even bigger question is, even if you don't want to, create a billion-dollar empire, are there still things to be learned from that you can apply to your own life?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that really jumped out to me, and the first thing that we'll talk about is this emphasis on long-term vision. They talk a lot about Elon Musk in this episode, and he sold PayPal and basically went all in on SpaceX and Tesla.
Yeah.
I mean, these are two businesses that most people would think are just crazy to even try to disrupt.
Right.
But he's thinking so long-term.
It's fascinating, isn't it, that while everyone else is focused on, quarterly profits and immediate returns, he's thinking decades ahead.
Yeah.
This guy's envisioning Mars colonies and a future powered by sustainable energy.
Yeah.
Talk about playing the long game.
It is. I love that analogy of checkers versus chess.
Yeah.
Most people are playing checkers. They're thinking one or two steps ahead.
Right.
These guys are these billionaire chess masters. They're thinking, 10 steps ahead.
Exactly.
Sacrificing those short-term gains for this much bigger end game.
That's a great way to put it. And that idea of delayed gratification seems to be really huge here. These individuals, they're willing to forego that instant satisfaction, put in the work, wait years, sometimes even decades to see their vision come to fruition. I mean, think about Amazon.
Right.
It took them years to turn a profit.
Years, yeah.
And now look at them.
Yeah. I've always struggled with delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I'm curious, from your perspective, do you think that's something that you can train yourself to do? Are there techniques to kind of build that discipline?
Absolutely. One technique that comes to mind is something called temptation bundling.
Yeah.
And the idea is you pair something you need to do but find unpleasant, like working on that big project, with something that you want to do, like listening to your favorite podcast or whatever it is.
Oh, I like that temptation bundling.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this long-term vision, delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But then there's also this really surprising point, I thought, in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
About how billionaires actually experience more failure than most people.
Right. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But it makes sense when you think about it. I mean, they're constantly pushing boundaries, taking risks that most of us wouldn't even dream of. Remember that quote from Jeff Bezos where he calls Amazon the best place in the world to fail?
I love that quote. What a bold statement.
Right.
But it really speaks volumes about their attitude towards failure.
Yeah, they don't see it as a setback.
Yeah.
Well, as valuable data, a learning opportunity.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like a scientist conducting experiments.
The podcast gave this great example of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Apparently, her father instilled this mindset in her from a young age. He would ask her every week, "What did you fail at this week?"
I love that.
So instead of fearing failure, they're actively seeking it out.
So you're saying failure is not something to be afraid of.
Right.
But really, it's all about how you view it.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about reframing how we view it.
Yeah, but I struggle with this a little bit because I'm also thinking, if you're always seeking failure, wouldn't that lead to analysis paralysis?
That's where the analysis comes in, right? It's not about blindly failing over and over. It's about extracting these valuable lessons from each setback.
Okay.
So one approach is to ask yourself, okay, what were the assumptions I made that led to this outcome?
Okay.
What did I learn that I can apply to my next attempt?
Gotcha. So it turns it into a stepping stone, not a roadblock.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got long-term vision, we've got embracing failure. What else did this mindset mastery episode highlight?
Well, they also emphasize the importance of continuous learning.
Okay.
There's that famous quote from Mark Cuban, "The second you stop learning is the second you stop earning."
Oh, I love that quote. It's so true.
Yeah.
It really speaks to just this idea of always evolving, always pushing yourself to expand your knowledge.
Right, and the podcast also mentions Warren Buffett, who supposedly spends most of his day reading.
Yeah, he's an avid reader.
So this constant learning has a compounding effect, much like investing money.
Okay.
The more you learn, the more you understand, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions and to spot opportunities that others might miss.
So it's almost like a snowball effect, right?
Exactly.
Knowledge builds on itself. It accelerates your growth over time.
And what's interesting is this idea of knowledge compounding actually ties into another key principle of the billionaire mindset, which is surrounding yourself with the right people.
Okay.
You know that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Yeah, that's a classic for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm a little skeptical about this whole surround yourself with game changers thing.
Yeah.
Because can't you learn just as much, if not more, from people who are different from you, who challenge your perspectives in unexpected ways?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's both. You know, it's not just about surrounding yourself with these high achievers,
right?
But it's about having that network of people that bring different perspectives, experiences, and insights to the table. You know, think of it less as like a game changers club and more like a brain trust.
Oh, I like that.
Where you can bounce ideas off of people, get feedback.
Yeah.
Learn from each other's successes and failures.
That makes sense. The podcast talked about Oprah Winfrey,
right,
and Richard Branson as examples, and
yeah,
they both, built these incredible networks of mentors, advisors, collaborators.
Yeah.
But how do you even begin to do that, especially if you're not already rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous?
Yeah, you don't have to be a celebrity to build a powerful network.
Right.
You know, start by identifying individuals that you admire. People that are doing work that you find interesting in your field or areas that you're passionate about, and then reach out, connect with them on social media, attend industry events, join online communities.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people are actually open to connecting and sharing their knowledge.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not really networking for networking's sake.
Right.
But it's really about those authentic connections with people that you can learn from.
Exactly. Building those authentic relationships based on mutual respect and a desire to learn and grow together.
Okay. So,
and you know what? Yeah. This actually ties into another core element of the billionaire mindset.
Okay. What's that?
Giving back.
Giving back. Okay. So they really emphasize the importance of generosity and philanthropy.
It wasn't just an afterthought for these individuals.
Yeah.
It seems like giving back is a fundamental part of their mindset.
I remember that quote from Melinda French Cates.
Yeah.
She said, philanthropy is not about the money.
Right.
It's about using whatever resources you have.
I love that quote. And it's really about shifting from that scarcity mentality, where you're constantly worried about what you lack, to more of an abundance mentality, where you're focused on sharing your resources and your talents to make a positive impact.
So it's not just about, writing big checks.
No.
It's about using your skills, your time, your influence to make a difference.
Absolutely.
I do wonder, though,
I
mean, is there a danger of this abundance mentality becoming a bit toxic?
Interesting.
If you're constantly focused on giving.
Could it lead to burnout?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think there needs to be a balance, right?
Okay.
Giving back shouldn't come at the expense of your own well-being.
It's about finding a sustainable way to contribute that aligns with your values and your resources. So it could be volunteering your time at a local charity, mentoring a young entrepreneur.
Okay.
Or even just donating a small portion of your income to a cause you believe in.
Yeah.
The key is to find what feels authentic and fulfilling for you.
I like this. So it's not about becoming some sort of selfless martyr or anything.
Right.
It's really just integrating giving back.
Exactly.
In a way that feels good and sustainable. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. This billionaire mindset, as presented in this podcast, seems to boil down to these 5 key principles.
Okay.
Long-term vision, embracing failure, relentless learning, building that powerful network, and giving back.
It's a pretty compelling framework.
Yeah, it is. And I think what's really interesting about this is that these aren't things that are only applicable to billionaires.
Not at all.
These are things that anybody can really apply to their life, their business, whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Think about it. You could apply these principles to starting a business, writing a book, running a marathon, or even just, improving your relationships.
Totally.
It's really about adopting a mindset that can empower you to achieve your goals, whatever those goals may be.
Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking, this is great in theory, but it also feels kind of overwhelming.
I agree. Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Right.
If you could choose just one of these principles to focus on, which would you say is the most crucial?
That's a great question, and honestly, it depends on the individual and their specific goals.
Okay.
But if I had to choose just one, I would say all starts with developing a clear, long-term vision. Because if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Right?
So true, yeah.
So having a compelling vision acts as that compass that guides your decision.
Your actions, everything.
Exactly.
But how do you go about crafting a vision like that?
Yeah.
That's both ambitious and achievable.
One approach is to ask yourself, what kind of impact do I want to make on the world?
Okay.
What legacy do I want to leave behind? Don't be afraid to dream big and think outside the box.
I love that start with the impact, then work backwards to figure out the steps.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's be real. Creating a vision is one thing, but staying motivated and committed over the long haul, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
How do you prevent that initial excitement from fizzling out?
Yeah.
When you inevitably hit those roadblocks and setbacks?
That's where the other principles come into play.
Okay.
Embracing failure helps you view setbacks as learning opportunities, not defeats. Relentless learning keeps you growing and adapting. Your network provides support and accountability. And giving back fuels you with that sense of purpose beyond just your own personal gain.
So it's like they all work together to create this sort of positive feedback loop?
Exactly. Each principle reinforces the others, creating a powerful synergy that can propel you towards your goals.
So it's really not about just choosing one and ignoring the rest.
Right.
It's about weaving them all together.
It's about adopting a mindset that empowers you to navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and ultimately create the life that you envision.
I love that this has been really insightful.
Good.
I'm already starting to think about how I can apply some of these principles to my own life and work.
I'm glad to hear that.
But before we wrap up, I want to get your thoughts on something.
Okay.
What if this billionaire mindset isn't just about individual success, but it's also about creating a positive impact on the world?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're blowing my mind here. That's a really interesting way to look at it.
You think about it, long-term vision, that could mean tackling global challenges like climate change or poverty.
Right.
And then embracing failure. That could lead to groundbreaking innovations in healthcare or education.
Exactly. Imagine if we weren't so afraid to take risks and experiment with new solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And relentless learning. That could fuel the discovery of new technologies and strategies to address some of the most pressing issues that we're facing today.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is. And even this idea of networks, right?
Yeah.
Imagine a network that's dedicated to social good, connecting change makers from all over the world, amplifying their impact, and really, accelerating progress toward a more sustainable and equitable future.
Now you're talking, that's what's so exciting about this whole billionaire mindset thing. It's not just about building wealth. It's not just about achieving personal success. It's about leveraging these principles to create a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves.
So it's not just about what we can achieve for ourselves.
Right.
It's about how we can use our talents, our resources, our influence to make a real difference in the world.
It suggests that anyone, regardless of their background or financial status, can adopt this mindset and contribute to building a better future for everyone. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have the power to create positive change.
Yeah, I love that. So it's kind of shifting from a me mentality to a we mentality.
Exactly.
Realizing that, we're all in this together and that we have a responsibility to use our gifts to make the world a better place.
And that's what ultimately separates a truly successful life from a merely prosperous one.
Okay.
It's not just about accumulating wealth or accolades.
Yeah.
It's about leaving a positive legacy, making a meaningful contribution to something larger than yourself.
This has been so eye-opening.
Good.
This whole deep dive, it's really giving a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It's not just about adopting a few new habits or strategies. It's really about shifting our perspective on success, failure, and the impact we want to have.
And remember, it all starts with that first step.
Right.
Choose one principle that resonates with you and start implementing it. In your daily life, don't be afraid to experiment, to fail to learn, and to connect with others who share that passion.
Well said.
Thank you.
This has been an incredible journey.
Yeah, it has.
Exploring the billionaire mindset.
Absolutely.
We hope it's sparked some new ideas and inspired you to think bigger, bolder, and more purpose-driven in your own life.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next billionaire, not just in wealth, but in positive impact on the world.
I love it. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It was my pleasure.
And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
That's right.
So take that step today, and let's see where this mindset can take you.